Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloye here in Abuja. Let's tell you that the Vice President Kashim Shettima has since returned from Davos in Switzerland, where he's been attending the World Economic Forum meetings. But at that meeting, just before he left, part of his final meetings and engagement was on how to advance two critical projects in Nigeria, the African Atlantic Gas Pipeline and the recharging of Lake Charge. A statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Communications in the Office of the Vice President, Stanley Onkocha, says that the Vice President made the call during a bilateral meeting with WEF's President, Mr. Brenda, on the sidelines of the ongoing WEF annual meeting in Davos in Switzerland. He highlighted the project's potential to address regional energy needs, food security, and economic development.
Removal, alignment of the exchange rate, tax reforms, so many ongoing reform efforts, and our economy has turned the corner. We have crossed the Rubicon and we are on a path to sustain growth. So we seek for your collaboration in fundamentally 2 or 3 areas. One is the African Atlantic Gas Pipeline that is supposed to take gas from Nigeria to Morocco. And because of the Europe-Maghrebi gas pipeline, it can easily reach Europe. And with all the challenges, the geopolitical challenges in Europe, with Russian gas having problems, and with the demand for energy rising because of AI, data mining, storages, and so on, will be in advantage position to take advantage of these opportunities. And a lot of littoral West Africans say that have discovered gas are more than willing to plug into the system and feed their gas to other.
Tonight, our attention is on how to secure Nigeria. Well, that is not the business of the citizen, nor the government alone. It's also directly in the hands of those who are specialized in those areas. And securing Nigeria is territorial integrity, the perimeters of the nation, away from the hands of those who are infiltrating our borders every day. But how would they get this done? We'll be finding out tonight from those who are in the know. But first, let's check out some of the political roundup stories.
President Bola Tinubu has announced the appointment of heads of some agencies and chairmen of boards. One of those is the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, who was appointed the board chairman of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. Also appointed is the APC National Secretary, Senator Bashiru Ajibola, as the national chairman of the National Sugar Development Council, NSDC. There were appointments for board chairpersons for 42 federal organizations and a secretary to the Board of the Civil Defense, Immigration and Prison Service. The Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, is reiterating the federal government's stance on the protection of the rights of children. The minister, who was speaking during the inauguration of the Committee for the Review of the National Child Policy Act, says the review has become necessary following the impact of climate change, insecurity and poverty on the nation's young population.
You are entrusted with the responsibility of reviewing a policy that will guide our nation in protecting and promoting the rights of children. Hence, your expertise and insight and also commitment will be crucial in ensuring that our policy reflects the realities faced by our children today and anticipate the challenges of tomorrow.
Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State believes his administration has made significant strides in transforming the state, including the renovation of over 1,000 schools and the construction of new ones. The governor made this statement during the interactive session with APC and state delegates from the 21 local government areas held at the banquet hall of the Presidential Lodge in Birnin Kebbi, the state capital. A civil society organization, Kimpact Development Initiative, wants the government to prioritize that dialogue through the implementation of meaningful reforms and commit to human rights and democratic principles. The executive director of the organization, Mr. Bukola Idowu, stated this during a public presentation of a report on the End Bad Governance protest in Abuja. According to him, most of the recent protests in Nigeria are as a result of policies of government that do not sit well with the citizens.
End Bad Governance protest is basically about people agitating a response to policy statement that they feel is affecting their well-being, and at that, now people took to the street. But the truth of the matter is this: there was a protest, but the proportionate response from the government, is it the appropriate, and which we are looking at.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Now, some news coming from the courts today says Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has proscribed the Lakurawa sect, classifying it as a terrorist organization. The proscription order followed an ex-parte application filed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, SAN. In a ruling, Justice Omotosho equally prescribed similar groups operating in Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north-central regions of the country. The order, quote, says, "It is hereby ordered as follows, that an order is hereby made declaring the activities of the Lakurawa sect and all the similar groups in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north-central regions of Nigeria, as acts of terrorism and illegality. That an order is hereby made prescribing the existence of Lakurawa and other similar groups in any part of Nigeria, especially in these regions of Nigeria, either in groups or as individuals, by whatsoever names they are called, and publishing same in the official gazette and 2 national dailies." President Bola Tinubu yesterday inaugurated the newly constructed barracks in Abuja to accommodate officers and soldiers of the military. The barracks was tagged Bola Ahmed Tinubu Barracks, which is located close by here in Asokoro, Abuja. It will be able to house about 34 brigadier general quarters, 60 major colonel flats, and 60 lieutenant captain flats. It also includes 180 senior non-commissioned officer blocks of flats, 264 corporal and below flat, and worship centers, sports facilities, and a powerhouse in the barracks.
Men and women of armed forces, I stand here to say thank you.
The president there at that event. Well, there was also the groundbreaking of the headquarters, what could be a permanent place for the military, the Air Force, the Nigerian Army, and the Navy, housed on the one roof. Their office here in Gariki seems to be a very choking place for them. So there is a place that the president has now done the groundbreaking ceremony that can house them. Well, in all of this, Nigeria is faced with numerous insecurity challenges, from external infiltration due to porous borders to new and threatening terror activities, Boko Haram resurgence, banditry, and all kinds of agitation and aggression from all angles. Amidst all this comes the need to develop, retrain, and equip the troops. Tonight, we'll be getting insight and speaking with the only 4-star general in the army, in the military, the most senior military officer in service, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, is live for us here in our studio. It's a pleasure having you, CDS.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Well, a lot of things are happening under your watch as the CDS. You seem to be a very lucky man indeed.
Well, I can say that we're highly mobile.
Interesting. You got a barracks and you got a groundbreaking ceremony, and the president is saying in about 2 years that the HQ should be done.
Should be ready. Yes, we're looking forward to that.
How motivating would this be for your troops
very
and
motivating. Now, for him to be there in person yesterday was remarkable, and I can tell you the troops, even those ones out in the field, are really very excited. They're very happy to see him committing himself, and you hear the words he mentioned, deliberate words. encouraging the troops. And I think that's the way it should be, because that's what makes them understand that the commander-in-chief is suddenly behind them, and they want to give him their very best.
I'm hoping that the barracks is not only in Abuja. Do you have plans to replicate similar things for the welfare of some of the troops on the ground?
Yes, very well. Like yesterday, Mr. mentioned that just about 40% are still not housed. We're working on that. It's work in progress, because as it is, yearly we recruit almost 25,000 personnel yearly, and out of that number, probably around 5,000 thereabout that go on retirement, because every year when you're 35 years in service, you are due for retirement. So by and by we have about 20,000 coming in. Then we need to have new barracks. We need to renovate the old ones, and that's what we're working on.
Although there are those who have been talking about the package for retired military officers, of how you get foreign, those who have deservedly, that those who serve this country should be treated fairly, and those who have, I'm very sure that you have heard those reactions from Nigerians.
Very well. Yeah, sometimes people tend to react on things they don't really understand about, and the truth about it is that anybody who has laid down his life for his country, I think he deserves the best. And whatever it is they are being given, I don't think it's out of place. It's just one way to show that they are well appreciated. I mean, since in their youthful years, they've given everything. 35 years of their youthful life in the service of the country and putting their lives at risk. For them to have been alive, I mean, it's something. When I passed out in 1991 from academy, we went straight to Liberia. I lost 10 of my classmates. 10, immediately. And over time, it has been like that. So they sacrifice the animals, and people don't really tend to understand what it means. Their families are losing their loved ones. No father, no mother, growing up with that. So you can imagine a kid growing up without even knowing who his dad was. It's really very Herculean.
So the question is, when the retired senior officer are getting this kind of treatment, what about the rank and file?
Everybody has. It's just like the way they don't pay us the same salaries. So we don't expect to have the same allowances. So that's how it is. Down the road, everybody gets his own stuff. So it's not like...
The question is whether or not there's a need for a foreign element into those treatment.
Well, I don't know about the foreign element. I think it's just a way of just making a standard. It's a standard practice worldwide for all members of the armed forces. So we're not separate from that.
Let's talk about the welfare, because if your men and your troops are motivated,
very well,
it will go a long way.
They give you the best, definitely.
And I saw a video, amusing though. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Those guys said they are hired official assassins to kill the enemy, and that they have been paid to use this gun to gun down the terror groups, and it was amusing. They were speaking in Yoruba language, and I imagine that I'm being paid to speak on television,
trained and equipped,
to
kill the bad guys.
To kill the bad guys,
definitely. That's
and a lot of the times they go right there without hope of returning home. They are lucky sometimes to go back home.
Very well.
So the motivation is very important to them.
Very, very important, and we don't toy with that.
There are times that they complain about.
That was in the past. I know, definitely in the past. I'm sure you know from now, apart from the few protests about pension payments that has been delayed, not that it has been stopped, it was just a little hitch that happened, and they were all paid. We make sure that our troops are paid adequately. Their allowances are paid as a when do, their salaries are paid as a when do. When they are injured, they are treated equally. As we speak, some of the soldiers that are injured, probably through IEDs or whatever, are flown abroad for treatment to show you how committed we are to ensure that they are taken care of. Those of them in the Northeast, they have their 2 weeks leaves. We fly them to either Lagos or Abuja. They go by road, come back, we fly them back into the theater, and these things are done everywhere. So we make sure that the troops, because we know the importance of morale, very, very key.
So the other side of the story, right, is the families of those who are deceased, the fallen heroes. How much of welfare package do they get?
Yeah, they equally have their own package. I mean, you are entitled to, for your kids till they're 18, 4 kids, a wife. This military takes care of them until they turn to adults, and then they continue from there. So issues are ongoing, and these things are being reviewed periodically to make sure that we take care of all our men. We don't want to see anybody left unattended to.
The part that is also important, not only the welfare in terms of what goes into the pocket or what goes in the tummy, is also what how they are empowered to fight the enemy.
Yeah.
There are times in this country where we do know that troops complain that whatever is in the hands of the enemy is more superior than what they have in their hands. What is the case right now?
I think we've learned our lessons over time, and I think we've addressed such. Nowadays, we're getting the best, especially with the president. We're getting more equipment, we're getting more aircrafts, we're getting more drones, more MRAPs. It's a lot better now, and that's why you see that things are really picking up. Because I think the most important aspect is for Nigerians to understand that security is everybody's responsibility. It's a whole of society approach. And that's why we are getting more successes, because Nigerians have understood that they equally have a role to play. In the past, people just tend to sleep and say, no, we have soldiers, we have police. No, they can't be everywhere. Nigeria's territory design is we have about over 900,000 square kilometers. How many men do you think can guide that? So everybody has a role to do. When you see something that is wrong, you report and action is taken.
Now, what had worried a lot of people, and there's been report of corruption in the purchase of equipment, armament, and firearms, and this has also dampened the morals of a lot of people.
Maybe in the past, now no more.
No corruption in terms of procurement.
We are working closely with the National Assembly. There is oversight functions being carried out. We have auditors that periodically come and check what we're doing. We're very open. And I can bet you that, look, we love this country and want to give the best to the country, because we know that's the only way we can. If you look at the amount that we're getting compared with what we are buying, most times what this 16 years of fighting Boko Haram has done is that it enabled us to also build the capacity of our own repair teams, our own engineers, our own mechanics. Now we can pick a completely burnt down MRAP, fix it, and put it back into warfare. That's what we're doing. One of the things that was not mentioned properly yesterday was the APCs, the armor personnel carriers, and the MRAPs that were locally assembled and locally manufactured. Yesterday, Mr.
By
President, by DICON and some Nigerian private companies. We have like Proforce, EPL, and some other companies that are equally doing well. The Nigerian Army too has its own repair company that is also fixing APCs, fixing MRAPs. We got gun trucks, converted them to APCs, took them out, tested them, and they're working. Proforce is a private company. The Chadian troops just bought some equipment for us. So with the signing of the DICON bill by Mr. President last year, it has afforded us the opportunity to partner with original equipment manufacturers all over the world for them to come and produce for us to produce. Because what we realize is that even with our monies, we can get some of these equipment, even when you need them. And sometimes they are not even on the shelf. So you have to wait. When you book, they tell you 3 years. The war isn't waiting. You have to fight. So now we're going to produce. We are producing our ammunition. We want to start producing our own weapons. We are producing our own MRAPs, our own APCs, and that will leverage and to make a great difference.
That is cheering in the sense that when we have the war that we're facing and we have the tool locally to be able to face those wars, and I'd like to know, CDS, what is the percentage of the locally manufactured equipment or armament that we have that we use on the war front?
Now we're just in a baby stage. We're just building up. So
it's less about 10%.
No, it's less than just about less than 20.
We're talking
we're
about
building up. We're
talking about guns. Do we produce our guns now?
Not now. We used to assemble guns from DICON. That has stopped. That is being restored now. We produce our own ammunition now directly. We do that for small caliber, the 7.62 mm. We do that at 9 mm. We also do that. We want to do the 5.6 and then go to the higher calibers from 12.7 and above. So those are the things we're working on. You know, the funny thing is that Nigerian DICON started 60 years. Was 60 years last year. Was established the same time with Brazil. Brazil is producing unmanned aircraft, unmanned submarine. They've gone so very far. We want to achieve that. And because in the past, yes, we started, sometimes we build traction and then it is left and we go down. But now, with the signing of the DICON bill, we're going to make sure that it is sustainable. People are interested, people are coming in. We're having a lot of partners into it going on. And I can assure you in a few years, Nigeria too will be a superpower in producing its own equipment. And we intend to use that, one, to engage our youths, provide employment, foreign exchange, and then we also need to sell to our own neighbors. I think that's a great thing to do.
I think it's a good place to start. Only that if we can sustain it, because this culture of go 20 steps and go 40 steps backwards, it doesn't help. It just pulls us down.
I agree, but I think with the present commitment, I think it will go forward.
Tell us of when the news of, and I'm not sure if the Attorney General had informed you about the move of the federal government to prescribe or to seek for an order of court to prescribe Lakurawa, and that is not the only one. There is an omnibus order that the court has given today to say any order, whichever name they are being called. What difference does it make to you as a general that a group that is armed and they're standing against the Nigerian people are being prescribed as terrorists? They're carrying out terror activities on the Nigerian people, but now they are being prescribed by the court. What difference does it make to you?
A lot of difference. Now it means we can go after them full force. I mean, in the past years, like some of the weapons we're buying from abroad, some countries have restriction on when you can use such weapons, like the Super Tucanos. You can't use them if you're not using them against terrorists. So you have those limitations. But once they are prescribed, which means you can use all these arsenals on those aspects. The legal issues will also, because we have the counter-terrorism laws, this will also apply to them directly. So it's a win-win thing for us. It's a welcome development, and we're very happy. We're working closely with the Attorney General to ensure that these things are done properly, and we're happy that the announcement has come in and it is timely. It will enable us to also carry out more robust operations.
So in this sense, you see Lakurawa before today. Yesterday, for example, if you see a Lakurawa terrorist, you cannot kill. Is that what
this gives us a legal backing on our operations against the Lakurawas? Yes, it gives us a complete legal backing.
So any Lakurawa sect identified and confirmed is as good as dead.
It's as good as dead.
So what is the MO in treating these people? You arrest and you prosecute, or sometimes at the discretion of the troops?
No, we arrest. Once somebody surrenders, we are duty bound not to harm him. That is international law, and that's why war is difficult. That's why people don't really understand. I was a theater commander in the Northeast when we started the surrendering exercise, and it took, people felt, how could you bring in those kind of people that have done such killings? But we tell them, once you surrender, international law permits that we should take them, treat them well, bring them back in, and then prepare them. And that's what we did to sort them out. Those are prepared, because what we did during our investigation, not everyone that was part of them was actually a partaker. Some of them were forced, some were conscripted, some were enslaved against their wishes. So we needed to really identify who is who. In doing that, those ones that were really actors in it, the legal action is taken, because we're working with the Attorney General. They are being investigated, and then they are being prosecuted. As you are aware, they are being prosecuted as we speak. So it's a work in progress. While those other ones that were not part of it, we're working together with the state governments to ensure that a disarmament and the reintegration process is being produced, because they were actually forced against their wish.
We had to separate. Yeah, there are those who are very not so happy about these so-called surrendered terrorists. I mean, you kill a lot of people, and the following day you say you have surrendered. And those who have criticized the manner in which the military have carried out the reintegration of these people and the re-engagement of some of them. Can you clear the air about some of these people that are said to be reintegrated and engaged? Why would you
engage? We're not engaging any of them back in. Not at all. What we are doing is that those ones, like I told you, once we bring them, we profile them. Now the main actors are separated. I kept separate. Those ones, the women, children, elderly, and those ones that were forced. The good thing is that the communities, we work together with the communities, and the communities also are equally able to identify those that took part and those that did not. So we have two separate sites, handled separately. We have the Operation Safe Corridor at Gumbi. What it does is that we have international organizations that have the standard of operating procedure, how we handle those who have surrendered. We are bringing them in, profile them in, and then build their capacities and skills builder, because sometimes what actually brought up this issue are things that we need to address. Issue of poverty, hunger, illiteracy. So these things are being put into them, they are being trained, and then they are given the ability with those communities, because what we really wanted to do is to ensure that the communities are also part of what we are doing. Because if they are not, then there's a problem. Because the reintegration process is the most important aspect. Be able to accept them back into the communities because they were forced. Now, with the Chibok girls, the challenge we're having is some of them were pregnant, some of them have given birth, they have kids. When we brought them in, when I was a theater commander, I brought about 11 of them. We were able to rescue about 11 of them. Now, them fitting back into the community is a big issue, and that's what we're still working on. You take them in, the communities don't want to relate with them, don't want to have anything to do with them, and they keep on calling them Boko Haram wives, Boko Haram children. So now, sometimes they come and tell you that, look, if they are calling them these names, then why not let them even go back to the bush? Because they are now back home, hoping that people will have empathy on them for having been, kidnapped and taken away for against their wishes. And now they are back. Instead of the community embracing them and making them feel at home, they have been isolated. That is another issue that we're having.
So you look at it, why is Boko Haram resurfacing? We thought that we've decimated them and bye-bye to Boko Haram. But again, we started seeing them coming up and attacking communities in
what I tell you is that it's a lot. This Boko Haram thing is a lot. And then for them to have survived for 16 years and still fighting, how are they getting their funding? Who is sustaining them? Because they cannot just be doing it just like that. You understand? Now, what I tell people is no country should allow this kind of thing to commence. It is a difficult operation to eradicate. Extremely difficult. Because why? Before now, when we had the conventional kind of warfare, you are fighting the country. You know you're fighting for territory, you want to achieve something. Now you are fighting with people that have nothing to lose. It's an ideology they have in their minds. They believe they are right and you are wrong. He believes if he kills you, he's getting blessing. If you kill him, he's going to heaven. He has absolutely nothing to lose. So that makes it very, very difficult. And it's not written on their foreheads. So how do you identify who is who? And they've realized that we obey international laws. They don't. So what do? They use human shield. Anytime they have anything, they go within the people so that you cannot attack them, you cannot shoot. And that's what makes it. So when people say, why is it taking so long? It is a very, very difficult operation to do because you make the mistake, you kill innocent people, your country comes after you. If you don't kill them and they continue striving, people come out. So on both ways, you are at the receiving end. Because you are wearing uniform, you can be identified. You are by law constitutionally held down on certain things that you must obey. So those are the issues we're facing.
We had a problem, so some of your predecessors have said that we had handicapped in fighting these insurgents. Has the story changed?
Well, the handicap is as per the nature.
No, in terms of the capacity of the hardware that we had problem. Pre-Buhari era, before Donald Trump came into power, and we got some Super Tucano aircraft, and we got some ammunitions from other countries. There are those who believe that we did not have the capacity to go after these terrorists.
You know, like I told you, if it was conventional warfare with the equipment, armaments we have now, we'll go to a community and flatten the entire community where they live. We'll end this in a very short time. But you can't do that anymore.
But do we have what it takes to go after this?
We do not have 100%. No country has 100%.
But I'm talking about a coordinated, strategic, tactical.
No, we do. That's why you see the gains we're getting now. The jointness is together. We're getting the support from human intelligence, from the locals, because the locals' interest is very, very critical. One thing you should understand is that this kind of war, you are fighting to win the hearts and minds of the communities. If they are with you, you will succeed. If they are with them, it's difficult on you. So as you are fighting them, you are also winning the hearts and minds of the people. And that's why we always mention the importance of good governance. Justice, fairness, equity. If people are well fed, they are well schooled, they are not illiterate, they have education, they can go to medical center. It reduces this drastically. Because somebody who is educated will not allow himself to be, for somebody to come and give him, to tell him that if he what he's fighting for God or something. He will never allow himself to be used. But so those are issues, and that's why we want to appeal that whatever it is that we're doing in the military, it's just about 30% of the whole solution. There must be other lines of operation. There's a political line, there's a diplomatic line, we have the humanitarian line. All those other aspects must play their roles to make sure to complement what the military is doing. Most times ideally when we clear an area, the local authority is supposed to come and take over and then we move forward. But now you find that sometimes we're left with having to provide water, electricity, medical to treat the people from the communities, because once we leave, there's a gap and it's easier for people to come and penetrate and use them. So those are the issues. In the Northeast, let me give you another example. They say blood is thicker than water. To us, those are terrorists. To the mothers, those are their children. So even when you go and give aid or support, palliatives to the parents, the mother is always willing to sneak at that and go and give him food for him to eat. Because she wants, to her, she's looking at her kid, she's not looking at him like a terrorist. So it's the multifaceted challenge that we are dealing with. And that's why people need to understand that it is not a one-off thing. Conventional warfare is off. You know who the enemy is. Use every arsenal and flatten the whole place.
I'd like to ask you, CDS, because you're speaking with Nigerians, and I think you have a reputation with a lot of Nigerians. Perhaps one of the few CDS in the history of the Nigerian military that is direct, truthful in his manner of approach, and also communicating. Do we have a remote intelligence eye on the ground? And I mean digitally speaking, in terms of technical remote eyes. I mean, we cannot be on the ground. We don't even have the capacity to monitor and to control all our territories.
Like I said.
But do we have that capacity as of today?
This warfare deals with a lot with ICT.
Do we
technology?
Have do we have the
We have some. So we have some. Not as much as we would have loved to, because it takes a lot to produce. And these things cost a lot.
But we need more.
We need more. I can tell you an example. A medium precision weapon, missile, for a drone costs $200,000. One.
A precision. That
precision.
Means from source, it goes straight
to where
and even if the target is moving around, it goes after it.
Yes, at least it's up to 90% precision. $200,000. Convert that to how many can you buy? How many can you get? How much does a drone cost? How much does an MRAP cost? How much does so these things are bought in foreign currencies, not in naira. So when I hear people say, look, they're giving but I think people should even be happy that the defense is getting much money. Why? In the US last year, their defense budget is $883 billion. They produce their equipment. We don't. Whatever it is we get, we convert to dollars, we take out to go and buy, you pay, you wait until they produce, and then before you can get in. If it gets bad, some of these things, you have to go back there to go and get. So it takes a lot. It's not that easy. And that's why we are looking forward to producing some of the, we can't do all, because we don't have the capacity to do all. But we will do, like satellites. We need all-time satellites so that we can have real-time info.
I thought our NICOM site is active.
No, it can't cover everywhere at the same time. It can give you some time, but not always. We need real-time info. These things cost billions of dollars. It's not easy.
Let me ask you, any lesson after 9/11, General? America learned a big lesson. And what part of the strategy and the ideology of America in prosecuting their war is that they discover that their enemies are not usually on American soil. And so they go after all the targets.
They try to ensure that the enemies are not, but it is difficult. And you can understand. I'm sure if you look at the statistics of deaths in America now, it's mind-boggling.
I mean, they're talking about external terror.
Good. So now you have the internal terror, which is even most dangerous.
So I'm asking the question because there are a lot of the times when locals say, we don't understand the language these people are speaking. We do not know them. They are not one of us. It means that aliens are infiltrating our borders.
Correct.
So the question is, are we able to strategize and say no more are we going to be having aliens? For example, some of these bandits, Lakurawa, for example, they are historically not members of these communities.
Not at all, they're not. But the communities brought them in. It was the communities that
they were providing protection and
that
cover
was the
for
issue.
The
that's why we talk about the issue of illiteracy, for you to understand what it means to build your national security. Most of these locals, when they come, they tell you, look, I'm from your religion, I'm from your tribe. We're here just to be together. And then you take them in. They become monsters. It has happened over and over. Boko Haram, when it started in Yedam, it was the same thing. When action was repeated, no, leave them. They're just youths. They're just misguided people. They're our people. Until they became monsters. And I tell people, don't ever allow a monster be with you. Because when he grows, he will swallow you. Exactly that's what happened. The Lakurawas are not new. They were in since 2018. They were with them 2018. They had an agreement that, look, come and stay with us. We'll farm together. We'll give you some stipend. Now, when that thing wasn't happening and they weren't getting that money, the next day they said, okay, come and start paying us.
And they've multiplied now.
And they multiplied now. And
are we taking them out?
Completely. Very well. That we're working.
At the moment, how decimated are they?
Very well. We're going after them. They are scattered together with the bandits. I'm sure you know the last video we have killed over 7 of the various commanders of the bandits. Because now you can't even differentiate.
Where is Bele Toji? Why is the guy hiding away under your, out of your radar?
Northwest is over 200,000 square kilometers. It's a massive area with a large forest area. Once they go under the forest, it's difficult to track them. And because, like I told you, they are not having these things written. They are within the communities. The people know them. So sometimes when they see them, before you get the information, it's like 2 hours. The man has moved. So when the information gets to you, before you move, he had left that area. But I can tell you, we have taken out his second in command. We have taken out most of his lieutenants. In fact, he was forced not to release most of the people that are under him. I am telling you that recently he's beginning to say that, look, he doesn't want anything. He's ready to surrender. We want to take everybody out. Anybody who has killed should go. People like him should not be allowed to.
Who are these people funding them, General?
That is the $1 million questions. Who are the people funding them? Sometimes they get fundings from kidnapping, armed robbery, and all these things they do. But again, you cannot rule out, because like I told you, in the Northeast, when we arrested some of them, they were having had currency to change. How did they get those monies? And look, people don't understand that, look, a lot of countries are envious of Nigeria. And they will not want. I remember some people said we're not going to survive more than 2015. This is 2025. We're still surviving. So people should understand that statehood needs everybody to understand that not everybody is happy with you, that your state is still there, that you're developed. Because if you look at our dynamics, over 900,000 square kilometers, over 300 different ethnic groups, so many of these things, countries without this have crumbled, but we're still standing. And you think everybody is happy? Not everybody is.
Let's take a breather, General. We're going to break, but when we return, our conversation with the Chief of Defense Staff continues. We'll be right back, everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on Politics Today on Channels Television. General Christopher Musa is the Chief of Defense Staff and has been speaking with us on the program tonight. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you, sir.
One is, and perhaps I'd like to move to another area of our conversation, but one would be worried though because of what we are seeing in some parts of the country. For example, the resurgence of Boko Haram that I mentioned. Despite the ongoing military efforts, Boko Haram has demonstrated some kind of resurgence, notably conducting his very first suicide attack since 2020. So in almost 4 or 5 years, he's not able to really carry out those kind of attacks. In Goza town, he conducted an attack in June 2024, resulting in at least 32 civilian deaths. What are we doing to permanently chase these people out?
We need everybody to work together. What really happened is, sometimes it's human. Once you're able to address a situation to a certain extent, the tendency is you might want to go to sleep. And then you leave your eyes off the ball, and then these things happen. I can tell you what they do is that they always look for soft targets. If you're able to secure this area, they look for a different area where there is nobody, and then they go and strike. The idea is to show you that they're still relevant, they're still potent, and they can do such. But I can tell you they have been on the run, they will continue to run. We are taking our operations further inwards to where they are. Now, mostly where they are is the Tumbus. What we call the Tumbus are small islands within Lake Chad. Lake Chad has receded. So most of them, and that area is normally like a no man's land because it's in between Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon. That's where mostly they do. So what they do is that they come in, just like normal human beings, commit these things, and if they are not found, they disappear and return back to those areas. Because those are high value areas that a lot of activities go through. So that's why it's important that we must continue to work together as Nigerians, defending this country. When people think it is the job of the military alone or the security forces, it makes it more difficult. But when everybody is together, you see something and you report as quickly as possible. It assists us in ensuring that we address those issues. But like I told you, they're always looking for soft targets. Anywhere you are, and the place is vast, they just go here, and there's nobody, strike, and then disappear. That's what they do.
Are you re-strategizing? Are the policies changing? Because what you use in fighting, the military used 15 years ago against Boko Haram, you cannot use.
Of course it has changed.
The tendencies are changing. Perhaps some of the intentions and the characters are changing.
Completely. Now, we're very deliberate on our commanders that we send. We make sure the commanders don't stay too long so that they don't get too compromised. And again, even the war fighting has changed because now, like I told you, you have to be very, very careful so that you don't kill civilians. And by the time you kill some of them, now the repercussion back on you is negative. And that's why we have to continue to train our troops in ensuring that they know how to respect human rights, they know how to shoot without making mistakes, they avoid all actions that will put them in very bad light against the civilian populace. Because if the community you are protecting are not happy with you, then you are not winning the war. It's very important. And it's very,
The fear about infiltration of your troops have also come up.
good.
Who are these people?
We recruit from the communities. We're not recruiting from heaven. We're recruiting from the community. So definitely, we'll always get the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the good thing for us is that we identify them and we take action. We have standing court martials in all the regions, all the regions, all our operations. We have standing court martials. If you are found, you will face the music quickly. We do not hide, and there's a zero tolerance on it. So you find out sometimes we find people with ammunition, we find people doing one or two things, even some of them trying to also communicate with them. We identify them, we bring them out, and they are punished.
General, there have been instances where flawed intelligence led to military actions resulting in civilian casualties.
Okay.
For example, airstrikes intended for armed groups have mistakenly killed civilians in Zamfara State, and we saw that also in Kaduna State happening. General, this is concerning. It is actually worrisome.
Well, to tell you the truth, it's an unfortunate incident. It was never deliberate, but it happens because we're humans. We're not 100%. Nobody is. Americans, all our top world, if you go in this kind of project, it will always happen. Sometimes it's even beyond you. The weather, the weapons you are using, some of these things could be missed. But again, let me tell you the truth. Most times, why is it that most times when we're making headway, is when you hear that civilians are being killed. Before we go there, they tell you they buried those civilians. Why are they burying them so fast? Because we equally want to investigate and assure that. For Tudembiri, for example, they will always give you that example. It's an unfortunate incident. But I can tell you, what they were doing is they replicated the same thing the terrorists were doing. Nobody was doing that over a year. And we have told the communities, anytime you want to do such kind of possession, let us know. You understand? And then a few days before that, there was an attack. The same thing we did with the terrorists, and then this incident happened. Like I said, it's regrettably, but the important thing is that we'll continue to work and we'll continue to fine-tune our operations. Mistakes will always happen, but they will never be deliberate.
There have been issues, allegations of human rights abuses within the military. In fact, there's a report from the Human Rights Watch on the case of allegations of forced abortions. In December 2022, reports emerged alleging that the Nigerian military was involved in forced abortions of women and girls impregnated by Boko Haram fighters.
Thank you very much for bringing that up.
And there are labels against the Nigerian military, and that's the reason why some countries are refusing to sell us armament.
Sure, but I wish you could call them now and ask them the same question. I was a theater commander when they brought this allegation, and I felt very bad because I noticed most of these organizations don't mean us well. Why am I saying that? Whenever we're making progress, we're succeeding. They throw this at us to make us look bad, to demoralize our troops. And the question is, what's the intent? Are they not happy we're succeeding? Now, when that incident came in, I was the one who actually met the then Chief of Defense Staff, General Irabo, and I requested, I said, sir, these guys have been doing such things, and yet we just leave it quiet. This time around, let us investigate. Because I am dead sure that nothing like that happened. Nothing ever. An investigation, the Human Rights Committee set up a committee, independent committee. They investigated. I was the first to testify in January 2023. It took them 1.5 years to thoroughly investigate because we gave them unfettered access to anywhere they wanted to go to on their own. They finished, brought out their reports. But I'm surprised, even the media didn't carry out the report. I thought that the media would have invited this human right to come and say, okay, this is the report from human rights. What do you have to say? We have gone ahead to also appeal to the Attorney General that we must take this case to court. Since they maligned us wrongfully, falsely, then let us take them to court. Let them come and publicly apologize and say they were wrong about it. And I can tell you, it was Reuters that did it, that brought up that incident. Initially, they said 13,000, and then they came out to say 10,000. I said, come and show us the proof. And the idea is the unintended is that if you accuse us of doing that, we have been working with all the international organizations, local NGOs, We're working with the UN and everybody. Are you saying we were doing all this for 10 years and yet they did not report? Are you also indicting them? And so when the report was made, they refused to even appear when the report was released. But I thought that the media would have also invited them to come and say, okay, you came out plainly and accused the armed forces of Nigeria about this. Now the human rights have brought out the report. What do you have to say? Please, it is still not late.
So as a CDS, you can vouch for the Nigerian military.
Completely.
There is no issues of human rights abuses.
I've been in there. I've been in the service for 30-something years now, almost 33 years in service. When they brought it was laughable. I told them, I sat down with them, I spoke with them one-on-one. I said, this is not Nigeria. And you know, there are some NGOs, international NGOs, that are into safe abortions. And that year, one of the NGOs just released a report of doing safe abortions for over 10,000 Nigerians. So I was telling them that probably you are mistaking that report for us. But they were keen on saying that is the military. I say, okay, come and prove it.
The case of the mistaken aircraft or airstrikes in Zamfara, in Kaduna, God forbid this happens ever again on Nigerian soil.
Yes.
What are you doing to ensure that this kind of situation never repeats itself?
What we tell some people, Nigerians, is, and we want to appeal to Nigerians, please stay away from those guys. There are people that trade with them. There are people that give them information. There are people that are with them. If you make yourself a cat, a cat will always pursue you. If you turn yourself to be part of them, giving them support in whatever means, if we come after them and you are with them, you are a legitimate target. And that's international law. So we want to appeal to Nigerians, those that are trading with them. I can tell you, people give them fuel, people take food for them. People even take women to go and give them.
So some of these people, I mean, in the case of Kaduna, there is a congregation, a procession.
Yes.
And when that happened, similar thing was happening in Zamfara. The gathering of people, and they just had on their heads.
For the Zamfara, I don't want to comment so much, but the truth about the Zamfara is that we have air videos.
The governor said on this program that he was pre-informed that there was going to be a military operation. So it was orchestrated.
I said we were following them. These guys anybody that was in part of that was part of the terrorists. We follow them. We don't just arbitrarily just throw bombs like that. These things are expensive. Human lives are also involved. So we are always very careful. We have to be sure what we're doing. We've tracked them for almost 2-3 days. We saw where they were. Where they were, the people will tell you that the guys were staying in isolated areas. Nobody was supposed to be with them.
So the civilian casualties are collateral damage. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you say collateral damage, because they were with them. Because they were aiding them. And anybody who is with them, aiding them, is a legitimate target. So for any Nigerian, please avoid them. Do not have anything, because if you carry your store with your wares to go and sell to them, and there's an attack there, you can't say you are a civilian because you are part of the conflict. You are providing support for them to work, and anybody who is providing support is a legitimate target.
Let me ask you about the IPOB agitation. Simon Ekpa, for example, you've told me before that you're working with the foreign authorities to ensure, but now what updates do you have now?
No, I think the Finnish government have their own procedure they're going through. The Nigerian government have forwarded all the relevant documents, exhibits, and everything about what's going on. So I'm sure justice will be done.
So it looks like it's taking longer than necessary.
Well, it's not our country; it's a sovereign country. They have their own procedures, so they have to follow their own procedures. Ours is to ensure they will follow up and make sure that we monitor what's being done. But I'm sure they will do, because we have been able. I think the Attorney General did a fantastic job, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Defense, together with the Office of the National Security Advisors, comprehensive things were done. Exhibits were forwarded that will enable them to be able to take action.
How dangerous was Simon Ekpa's activities and all allied or related to your office and to the Nigerian society?
Very, very, innocent people were killed just by his utterances. And so we needed to stop that. And that's immediately they picked him, you see that it has gone down. There are people like him that also doing those things, were also equally going after them, both outside and within. There are people that benefit. The funny thing about the country is that some people think everything is about politics. So there are individuals that feel if there is peace, then maybe the government is doing too well, and then people want to applaud. So some people intentionally want to make sure that the country remains ungovernable. There's strife everywhere, but innocent people are killed. If you want to be a leader and you are praying for some people to be killed just because you want to come in, I think there's a problem somewhere.
So the agitation in the southeast region, I mean, you have mentioned that it is not only the fight, well, there are other measures.
Yeah.
Do you think that the release of Nnamdi Kanu might help the situation?
Well, I don't know. I think the federal government is considering all options, and I think that's a decision, that's a political decision. It's not our own decision. Our own decision is to stop the killing, to ensure that we secure the communities and that they're free. People must stop providing necessary support to these individuals. In Maiduguri, why surrendering came up is that people stopped supporting them and they were able to come out. So I think the same thing should be repeated here, so that we can have, to whatever grievance they have representatives that will represent them, that will make cases for them. But besides that, we're always using the kinetic and the non-kinetic. It's not only about force. The non-kinetic aspect is also working. Like I mentioned, the kinetic effort is just about 30%. Non-kinetic is almost 70-65% of the whole solution. So we're also working towards that. The federal government is working with the opinion leaders, with stakeholders in the southeast to ensure that they bring them, let them come together and discuss and be able to call this and stop this wanton killing. Those guys doing the killing, you wonder what they're doing for. They are just killing people randomly.
But what about the kidnapping? Is really getting
It's all part of it because they use that to make money.
Not only in the northwest, it's happening.
It's a social. It's a social
southeast.
challenge. It is a social challenge. Why? Poverty, illiteracy. People just think everything is monetized, so everybody just wants to make money the way and manner. That's what it's causing. I'm sure you've heard of individuals kidnapping themselves. There are family members kidnapping family members. There is a woman that kidnapped her husband. So it has become a social malaise that's affecting everywhere. And it's talk about the society. So those are the things that we need to really look at.
General, are you worried when you hear about another leader of another country who alleged about our president and the NSA's office and the Nigerian military that there is a collusion with terror groups? I mean, does that bother you in some way?
Well, it should, because for the leader of a country to come out and say this and, say a lot of lies, things that are false.
So he was lying?
Completely. We told him, come and prove it. Nigeria's foreign policy has always been African-centered. We have bent our backs for Africans. Even when at the end of it we were paid in bad currency. But we did so, and we're still doing so. During the apartheid region, I'm sure you know what Nigeria did. Mandela and everybody was here. We did that for East Africa. We did that in Liberia. We lost so many people. We lost equipment. We lost so much money. Sierra Leone, we did the same thing. As we speak, we have troops securing, providing security in Gambia, Central African Republic, Equatorial. We have people doing, that's what Nigeria does. Presently, we have the former president of Sierra Leone in Nigeria, just to make sure that there's peace in Sierra Leone. So you can see we have never used the Nigerian soil to allow anybody use our soil to attack any African country or any other country, because it's not in our place. We have everything that we need. We don't need anything. We're not looking for landmass. We're not looking for population. We're over 200 million. We have natural resources. God has blessed us so much. What do we need from them? So for him to come out, and I'm sure he has realized that he has made a mistake. That's why you see of recent, he doesn't come out to make all this falsehood. Sometimes, again, it's pressure. He has come in, it's a military regime. Military regimes are no more popular. Everybody wants democracy. Now, what does he do? Is he going to remain as a military man for how long? Is he going to transit to a civilian?
But are those regimes threatening our our territorial integrity in any way? Because it's a fashion, and we saw what happened. Even when
if you notice, those countries doing it are all Francophone countries, and their main grounds was against France. They felt grounds didn't. They look at Anglophone countries. Britain had left, Nigeria had been independent. They have been held hostage. That's how they feel.
But most of them are, they are our neighbors.
Yeah, well, they are our neighbors. They are still Francophone.
So the question is whether or not that in any way, because around that time, there were also threats about a possible coup on Nigerian soil.
No, not ever. It's
not under your watch.
Nobody ever contemplated that. The armed forces of Nigeria is highly professional. Mistakes have been made in the past with the military regimes. Nobody wants that anymore. And I can tell you, we thrive better in a democracy. We will never want. Nobody is thinking about that. Nobody has that in his mind.
You're a general, though. So a lot of the times these things are done under the commanding officers.
We have. It is because the way you handle your troops. I can tell you, we have the best of support from our troops, from the private.
And anything like that can never happen.
It can't happen, not in Nigeria, not anymore.
To wrap up this conversation, General, did you ever see yourself in this office?
Well, it's I think the dream of every officer when you come up from NDA is to be a general. How it comes out, one doesn't know. But it's a big challenge, and it's something we are moving forward with.
You're from Kaduna?
Yes.
And in time past, there are people from your area, especially in southern Kaduna, that have been saying or they feel that for some reasons the killings or in their area are targeted. What is your feeling? What is it?
Well, it's unfortunate. You know, killings anywhere is bad. I mean, everybody that once the killing is rampant is something that you. But the good thing is that actions have been taken. I can see that from now on, that has not been done. Mistakes were made in the past that when these killings were done, proper actions were not taken. And that has really emboldened the guys to think that they can continue doing that. Now they know it is no more business as usual.
And your governor is taking a different dimension.
Very important. That's part of the also non-kinetic effort that he's doing and carrying everybody.
Some people may not agree with it.
Yes.
But he feels, and I've had a conversation on this program with him when he says, look, we thought better on how to handle this rather than...
You know what I always told you, that justice, fairness, and equity. If people feel a sense of belonging, they will give you the best. If you isolate any individual, he's going to feel isolated and he's not going to be happy.
General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, it's a pleasure having this conversation.
Thank you very much.
See, on China's television, get this for us. We will support your officers and troops.
Thank you very much.
Because this country belongs to all of us. If you need our help, we will give it.
Thank you very much.
Because we will ensure and help in whatever way possible to make you succeed.
Thank you very much.
You look good, our nation is better for
very
it.
Well. Thank
and
you.
we wish you and your men and the troops the very best. Congratulations again on some of whatever you are doing.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We'll appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
But that's our show tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. I'll see you next time. God bless Nigeria.